Oh man, I told y'all, man. I told y'all, watch out for TMS Studio. What'd I tell y'all? Huh? As soon as I found out the studio that was animating Sakamoto Days, I was like, oh, Neptune, it's about to be some shenanigans going on the production line. Yeah, I bet y'all had that Mappa sweatshop now, huh? So if you're coming into this video new, Sakamoto Days is an adaptation of the popular manga series in Shonen Jump about a retired hitman getting back into action, and obviously a bunch of hilarious hijinks, fantastic choreography, as well as amazing arc lies within it. A lot of people have been telling me to read the manga, cover the manga on my channel, and typically I just like have left it alone. I was like, oh, well, the anime is coming out. I'll watch the anime. I'll see if that sparks my interest enough to keep up with the manga. And now I almost feel bad for the manga, so I kind of feel indebted to trying it. So a lot of people are currently upset with the treatment of the Sakamoto Days anime because they feel that it is lacking. A lot of people feel like compared to a lot of other action series, it's just not as much finesse as well as spectacle that they were expecting for a manga series that is primarily focused on action. And these people aren't incorrect. I do feel personally like the series does feel very The animation is far from bad. I've seen way worse animation. I mean, I've seen Invincible's animation damn near every time a show comes out. I will never stop slandering that show, and you can't make me stop. So it's definitely better than that, and the first episode has some really good cuts, especially you have that one cut of Sakamoto spitting out the cough drop and hitting the bullet. That was really nice. I like the raid on the warehouse. But this past episode with Sakamoto versus Boiled was just fortunately very Now, I have previously covered the animation industry in a much longer video. Please make sure you go check that out as well. But I will say that this does not mean that I can't critique a product. I can't offer my own criticisms. It doesn't mean that I can't offer my own suggestions as well. And believe me, I feel for Sakamoto Days fans because as a fan of My Hero Academia, seeing the treatment it got in season 5 and season 6 was just but this past season they actually turned it up and they actually made it with modern standards. So truthfully, I do feel like some of that was the time that the Bones employees were getting, as well as the directors that they had on staff at the current moment, because the current director is actually doing a fantastic job. I like it. Now, a lot of people are upset with how the show actually looks, not the animation, but the actual art style, which is a bit harder because the actual artist is so talented in the actual manga. So it's not, when it comes to an animation medium, that is so intense for the amount of detail that's required. Unless it's like a still shot, it is supposed to like invoke a certain emotion. You're not going to see that level of detail in pretty much any show. Funny enough, this is actually why Jujutsu Kaisen works, because Gege's art is a lot more rough and less detailed most of the time. And so actually it makes it easier to animate and it gives the animators a lot of room to do whatever. Very similar to the Shintani animation style for Dragon Ball Super Broly. So I'm not really worried about that. People are posting screenshots like, oh my god, they butchered this scene, look at it, look how it looks, whatever. But the actual issue is the actual movement and animation of the characters, and it does feel a little slow, and it does feel like there's not as much weight with the hits and punches. Now, as someone that doesn't have a degree in the field of animation, it's kind of weird to offer my own critiques, because yes, I've been watching anime for a long ass time, and I can tell you my preferences, but I'm not actually certified in the field. But as far as how you would do certain things, I feel like I can kind of talk about it. There's a good amount of smearing sometimes that you see with some of these punches that Sakamoto throws, which is cool, gives a sense of speed. If you use the appropriate sound effect, it makes it sound heavy. But then when you have certain panels where like two characters are just moving and you have the smear just stay there, it feels much slower than what you're actually doing. For some reason, the blood was kind of toned down, which is weird because this is on Netflix, and I mean, Netflix had JoJo Part 6, and I mean, that shit could get very gory at some point. So I don't know what was going on. Maybe it was the actual station that it is on in Japan, but I don't think it's airing live in Japan. But people are understandably upset. The amount of hype that this anime was supposed to get was supposed to be through the roof. People were so excited. I mean, the manga is like, what, 130, 140 chapters or so now, and people are still loving it, talking about it on my timeline every day. And so the problem is that when I saw TMS Studio animated, I said, oh, this is about to be some cheeks, y'all. And it all started with the intro. When people saw the intro and how static and slow the intro was, the actual song's a banger. I actually like the song a whole lot, but there's just not a lot of movement, and even some of the character details, it's kind of like, I don't, Anime openings are supposed to be almost like anime openings are basically supposed to be animation showcases, and they're also supposed to set the tone for the current season or core that are in. So when a lot of people saw this opening and it didn't really wow us, and we didn't see any like super great Sakuga or anything like that, or just any like notable shots, people were like, ah, dude, I will tell you, like I know nothing about the series past where the anime is at right now, but the shot of the old man in the opening compared to like the shot in the manga where he pops up and everybody keeps spamming him, I'm like, oh, they done took all the aura, man. Oh my god, this is how I felt with that Endeavor episode last season of My Hero Academia. They hold Endeavor bad. It's crazy because I feel like that was the lowest priority episode compared to the whole season, but like the Bakugo episode was fantastic, Tamaki's episode was fantastic, it was all good. Now I keep bringing up TMS Studios, so if you aren't aware, they've animated a whole lot of projects, but one of their most well-known ones is Detective Conan, as well as Baki, and Baki looks like shit. Baki looks like complete ass. I talked about it in my review, but just how, again, there's so many static shots and there's so many characters of this like streak, and the camera just sits there, but there's no actual movement going on. And a show about fighting, the fighting is actually pretty weak for the animation side. There's only, like, the only thing I can remember is a little bit of Yujiro versus Baki and Pickle versus Baki that actually, like, blew me away. Also, well, I guess when Baki was sick and his girlfriend cried on him and he just, like, woke up and then kicked that nigga so hard and it was like, call the doctor! And he, like, bowed. Like, that was cool. I like that a lot. Now, I'm not gonna say the entire studio is washed, because I'm sure if they put out some great things, I'm sure there's some great cuts in there in Baki that I'm forgetting. I'm sure there's some great cuts in Sakamoto Days that I'm forgetting as well. But overall, it's just eh. And people are coping so hard for this anime. They're like, oh my god, y'all using JJK and Demon Slayer animation. This looks fine. It looks fine. You're right. It looks fine, but it doesn't look great. People feel that this isn't being treated like how it should be. I've talked about this before, but when you talk about specifically Invincible, and you talk about things like X-Men 97, Castlevania, you talk about Vox Machina, competition breeds excellence, and people's standards and industry standards are changing every single day. People are inventing new techniques every day. Something that's gonna fly in the 90s and early 2000s is not gonna fly in 2025, man. People are like, oh, this would have been just fine in 2003. That's not a flex, bro. That's cope. That's bro. You deserve better. And the animators deserve better. They deserve proper time. Now, I heard that this was a smaller team working on this, but also Daima was a smaller team working on this. Now, granted, the TMS is not nearly as big of a studio as fucking Toei. Like, hold on. But it's just a damn shame what's happening to this anime, man. Again, I don't think it's bad. It's just mediocre. I think it's passing. It's not like Blue Lock. Far from it. Far from it. But I don't know, man. The show's coming back in July. Apparently, we're having some big ass break. I don't know why. I don't know why Netflix keeps this. I hate when they do this. Oh my god, they did it with JoJo Part 6, and I just it's not fun. I hate it. Now, part of me thinks that this production was definitely rushed, because why are we getting a 6-month break at episode 6 to 7, and then we're coming back halfway through the year? Like, that doesn't really make sense to me. Usually if you do like a break like that, it's 10 to 12 episodes. It's like, okay, here's core 2, like Mashal, for example, or hell, even Solo Leveling. Why so early? That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Or even Don, right? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about the whole Sakamoto Days situation that's going on, because this shit is I'm praying for y'all, man. I'm praying for y'all. Listen, I'm just telling you right now, if Kagurabachi ever got animated like this, I'd probably just kill myself. Y'all have a good one. Bye!